Welcome to qnawire.
Question 9. Structural unemployment is sometimes said to result from a mismatch between the job skills that employers want and the job skills that workers have. So, to further explain this idea, we now consider an economy with two industries. Um, auto auto manufacturing industry and aircraft manufacturing industry. So this industry makes cars, while this aircraft makes airplanes. So aircraft craft. Okay, so question A is in that if workers in these two industries require similar amounts of training, and if workers at the beginning of their careers can choose which industry to train for, what would you expect to happen to the wages in these two industries? So, since these two industries require similar amounts of training, so maybe even the same amount of education, and workers can choose whatever they want. So in equilibrium, if workers do not have particular preference for either of the industry, they will like randomly choose between these two. So the wage of these two industries should not differ too much. And how long would this process take? um, I would say the process is going to take um how long does this process is going to take depends on how these two industries develop. I would say if this is a country that the auto manufacturing is just a startup, people are still trying to figure out how to build a car or how to sell their cars. So this might take longer for this auto industry to have this equilibrium wage, the same level as aircraft wage. So the other way around also holds. So I would say wage is similar. Wage similar. Okay, similar. So question B is saying that suppose that one day the economy opens itself to international trade. Okay, so now we have international trade and they're going to import autos and export aircraft. So what would happen to the demand for labor? So if they want to import foreign cars, that means we don't need that many domestic cars anymore. So the demand for automobile workers is going to decrease, right? Because people are driving foreign cars, they no longer need these domestic workers to produce their domestic cars. So this is going to make the wage goes down. While on the other hand, aircraft industry, oh sorry, so aircraft industry has another impact because now they're exporting aircraft to another country, so they're selling their airplanes to maybe countries nearby, so they have to make more in order to provide both domestic demand and international demand. So the demand curve is going to go up. So this D prime is also going to make the wage higher. So wage goes up. This is not very clear. So wage goes up. Okay, question C. Suppose that workers in one industry cannot quickly retrain for the other. Well, this is very reasonable because say you spend 5 years learning all the knowledge about a car, it is not very easy for you to spend another 5 years or some other extra time to learn everything about an airplane. Okay, so how would these shifts in demand affect equilibrium wages, both in the short run and in the long run? So, so I just answered question B and C together. B and C. Yeah. So for auto industry, the wage goes down and the labor demand goes down, while in the aircraft industry, wage goes up and the labor demand goes up. Okay, so I answered both of the question. D, if for some reason wages fail to adjust to the new equilibrium levels, so what would occur? So that means that even though the demand is like decreasing, we still have this wage right here. So that would cause some people to lose their jobs. Say now the equilibrium wage is here, while actually the real equilibrium wage is the blue wage over here. So so on the supply side, people are only willing to supply this amount of labor, while the industry demand this amount of labor. So this wage is too high that the firm cannot afford this number of workers to work, so they will hire. No, I'm sorry. They will lay off the difference between these two dots. So this number of people will be fired. While on the other hand, if we compare these two equilibrium dots, we will find that these number of people will be hired because now we have insufficient number of workers to produce airplanes, right? Because they are now producing more to sell abroad. So this number of, I'm sorry, this is not very clear. So this number, so the difference of these two equilibrium. So this number is newly hired employees. I'm sorry, yes.